Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another episode of the Puerto Rico Skyway channel. My name is Emmanuel Santiago and today I'm gonna be talking to you about the 3 starter cameras that I consider are the best in 2022. Now, before we begin the video, I would like to thank all of my subscribers. Thank you for the awesome support. I really appreciate your comments and the growth of the community. Now, all of you as you guys may know, I am a big Canon fanboy, but I have to admit, one of the most impressive starter cameras right now in 2022 that you can buy is, yes, the Sony ZV-E10. This camera, it used to be a little point and shoot, which Sony, they decided to give it a E-mount so you can interchange lenses. And this is huge because even though that we have like phones right now that can shoot with different focal lengths, having a dedicated camera with a dedicated mount for full frame APS-C lenses, it's amazing because the quality, the image quality, it will always come through as more professional than using just your phone. Now, I may give it to Sony because they have created a camera with such a small package that can shoot 4K 24 FPS, and it really looks very good. They have also given it some features like blur generation. It has a little button when you click it and it blurs out your background regardless the lens that you are using. I think that this is like trying to mimic the portrait mode on some phones like the iPhone, and yes, that depth of field, they are trying to give you that ability to isolate your subject, which I think that with some E-mount lenses you will be right there at that ballpark shooting with your blurry backgrounds. And they also have a very specialized microphone on camera, which also brings its own dead cat, and it is specialized for blogging. So you will also be getting the flip out LCD screen that most of Canon camera has, and recently now Sony have jumped into it and have provide a flip out LCD screen for its users. Okay guys, the first Canon camera on this list is, yes, by surprise, the Canon EOS R10. I didn't include the EOS R7, even though it is a magnificent camera for starters, but the price range is a little bit on the higher side nowadays. Now, the EOS R10, I find that this camera and this little tiny package, it provides, yes, a huge punch again, because it has a 24 megapixel size APS-C size sensor, and it is able to shoot 15 frames per second in mechanical shutter. That means that if you push that shutter button, you'll be able to get 15 photos in only 1 second. So think about the possibilities that you could achieve with this camera. Now, another amazing feature that this camera has, it's the powerful Digic X processor. Now, what does that mean? It does mean that the autofocus capabilities of this camera will be on par with the R5, R6, R3, all of those thousands and thousands of dollar cameras. Yes, you will be getting it in this affordable package. Now, this is not the cheapest starter camera from Canon, because you can also take a look at the M50, M50 Mark II, and 6, but the fact that this camera has an RF lens mount, it enables you so much, because you could be using EF adapted lenses, you could be still using RF lenses, RFS lenses, so the possibilities of interchanging your lenses is very amazing with this camera. Okay guys, yes, you are reading right. My third camera for this list is the EOS R. Now, this camera is a little bit of a controversy because it is a full frame camera for Canon. It was one of those first mirrorless entries into the full frame world. And to my surprise, I really loved owning that camera, and I cannot believe at the prices that you can actually find this camera right now. I've seen them on $1,000, 1100, and to my surprise, yes, this camera, it is a beast. Now, some key features that the USR has are the 30.3 megapixel sensor. It has a Digic 8 processor, so the autofocus will be always fast and able to face detect what you are going to shoot, and it also has a good amount of dynamic range and very high bitrate. I will talk about bitrate and dynamic range further down the video. So the EOSR in the video side of things, it can shoot up to 4K 30. You can also use an external monitor to get 10-bit quality footage, which is amazing. The color science from Canon, it's very, very good. Okay guys, so my advice when looking at these three cameras, or any camera for that matter, would be to look at the bitrate options if you are looking to shoot video with them, and the dynamic range. Dynamic range for the Sony is not great at 10.5, but dynamic range above 10, it's always a good thing. It is very, very nice. Now, if you look at the Canon's offerings, you have 13.6 from the USR10, which is impressive considering it has an APS-C size sensor. But in the EOS R, yes, you get 14.1 stops of dynamic range. That's where the full frame sensor in this camera really excels, and in bitrate as well. Now, bitrate, that word, what does it actually mean? So when you take a look at different cameras on the market right now, they might say they shoot 4K, 8K, 5K, 12K even, but bitrate actually means that amount of bit of video, it's gonna be uploaded into your SD card per second. Now, if we take a look at the Sony ZV-E10, the bitrate, the maximum bitrate that you can achieve with this camera is 4K, but I'm at a mere 60 megabits per second. So that is 60 bits of video per second being crammed up into your file. Now, if you take a look at the offerings from Canon, you will see that the increment in value will be very, very superior in that regard. So guys, when looking up at a new camera, if you go to a store, if you look into the internet, the first things that you are gonna take a look at will be the bitrate and dynamic range. Dynamic range will be that ability of your camera of seeing more detail into the shadows and retaining highlights, because you can definitely look and tell the difference between a professional camera, which will retain the blue in the skies, and a more amateur drive camera that will have the skies more white and blown out in that regard. And you don't want that. You still want to retain color information even in the sky, because that will make your footage look more professional. It will make your experience shooting more enjoyable. A great amount of time that you will spend behind the camera shooting, the satisfaction that you will feel from taking a look at an image that retains a lot more of color information, of sharpness, that will be the things that will give you the satisfaction and will motivate you to pick up your camera, go on a trip and shoot, to pick up your camera and take it wherever you are going. If you want to start a business, you want your clients to take a look at pictures that are that are not coming from a cell phone. Let's say, for example, that are coming from a professional dedicated device, which you can rely upon each and every time that you go out and shoot. So guys, what would be my pick or my recommendation for the best starter camera out there in 2022? Yes, I would definitely go with the EOS R. Try to find a used one for a lower price, because that will kickstart my passion for photography and video as well very, very nicely here in 2022. And with the amount of lenses that are on the market right now, you can save money on the camera body, pick up a really, really nice lens, and have an awesome shooting experience with your first starter camera. If you have more questions, please leave them in the comment section down below, and I will be seeing you guys in the next video.